I hope they laugh. I hope they enjoy it. I hope that they get inspired by this to say, wow, like I can't believe, someone made this. I could maybe do something like this. I hope that it opens up their curiosity to AI. The whole purpose, again, is just to showcase the art form, showcase the artist. I hope that they learn more about the artist. Every scene, at the beginning of each scene is going to have the artist's name so that like they can know more about the artist if they want, because again, it's all about the community. It's all about the artist. So I hope that it opens up doors for all of the artists.
For our last episode of 2023, we have a special holiday edition of Creativity Squared, featuring the amazing minds behind our T2 Remake, which is one of the first full-length feature films created using only artificial intelligence. You're in for a treat to hear the making of this innovative Terminator 2 parody that flips the script on AI. Instead of destroying the world, our T2 Remake showcases how AI can empower artists, open a new genre of filmmaking, and reimagine what's possible with human creativity powered by AI tools. Join today's conversation with the film's executive producers, Perez and Molina, and another AI artist, Nash, who's also a previous Creativity Squared guest. and Sway collaborated with 50 of the best AI video artists from around the world to bring this film to life. Our T2 Remake reimagines the classic film through the creation of 50 unique original works, each lasting 3 to 4 minutes. This experimental film, which has no affiliation with the Terminator franchise or its creators, celebrates the AI artist community by showcasing each artist's own unique style for each of their scenes. With backgrounds spanning film, technology, art, and music, Sway, and Ben are multi-talented creators leading innovation across the creative industries and are breaking the conventions of what it means to be filmmakers. Who is based in LA, is an award-winning filmmaker and founder of the AI startup called Storyblocker. Sway, who is of Latin American descent, works in Miami as an actor and filmmaker using generative AI in his humor-driven narratives. And Ben is a Cincinnati-based full-stack creator who blends design, code, industrial arts, and music into cutting-edge digital products. Ben teased this project in his Creativity Squared interview, and I couldn't have been more excited to connect with and Sway through Ben to learn more about this exciting project at the forefront of AI filmmaking. In today's episode, you'll hear how they are using artificial intelligence as a tool, a creative outlet, and a form of self-expression. You'll get a behind-the-scenes look at the making of our T2 Remake, including their innovative Discord workflows and what message these artists have for Hollywood. They just wrapped principal photography and are aiming to announce when the film will be released very soon, so follow them online to learn how to watch it this holiday season. For Creativity Squared, this is Hasta la Vista until February 2024. Just as the T-800 saves humanity in Terminator 2, this remake demonstrates AI unleashing creativity, not destruction. Enjoy.
But have you ever thought, what if this is all just a dream?
Welcome to Creativity Squared. Discover how creatives are collaborating with artificial intelligence in your inbox, on YouTube, and on your preferred podcast platform. Hi, I'm Helen Todd, your host, and I'm so excited to have you join the weekly conversations I'm having with amazing pioneers in the space. The intention of these conversations is to ignite our collective imagination at the intersection of AI and creativity to envision a world where artists thrive. Well, Sway, and Ben, welcome to Creativity Squared. It is so great having you on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you, Helen.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. Hi.
Well, Ben is a repeat. You're actually our first guest who's been on Creativity Squared twice. And I heard about Nim and Sway through Ben, and so excited to have you all on the show. Ben and I know each other from the Cincy AI meetup here in Cincinnati that I co-host with Kendra Ramirez, and he got up on stage and talked about all of his amazing AI artwork and video, and talked about this Terminator 2 parody. And it's been such a pleasure getting in touch and to know you, Nim and Sway. But for those who don't know you, can we do a quick round of introductions? And Nim, you're first on my screen, so I'll punt it to you.
Yeah, thank you. So my name's Nam Perez, originally from Chicago, born and raised, currently living in Los Angeles. I am a commercial film director, and I'm one of the executive producers of our T2 remake.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sway Molina. I'm from Miami, Florida, born in LA, practically raised in Miami. Don't know how long I'm going to stay here for. I'm planning to move, so we'll see how that goes. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an artist. I do a little bit of everything. And I'm also one of the executive producers for our T2 remake. And I'm so excited to be here and just to share with you all our stories and our project.
Amazing. It's so great to have you here. And Ben, I know you've been on the show before, but let's get your elevator pitch again.
Yeah, how's it going? My name's Ben Nash. I'm local to Cincinnati now, and also coincidentally lived in LA for a little bit. Most of my adult life was out in California, San Francisco area. Designer and web developer is my day job, and then I picked up AI art about a year ago and haven't stopped. It's been my passion ever since. And I got introduced to these guys on X and became friends and a part of our T2 remake project. And it's been a fun project to be a part of.
Oh, and this is the last episode that we're doing of 2023. And for our listeners and viewers, we won't actually be back until February. We're taking January off. But still sign up for the newsletter because we'll still be publishing the newsletter. But this is a special edition interview. This is the first one where we have a panel on, and also a great teaser for the film that they've been working on. So why don't we dive into our T2 remake and kind of tell us like the origins of it? How did it start? Because it seemed to happen really quickly from my side of things. So dive in on the origins of the project.
Sway, you want me to take it away?
Yeah, take it away.
Cool. So actually, I came up with this while I was on vacation, and I was actually thinking about this the other day because I have this pattern where like I'm always coming up with ideas while I'm on vacation. So I was on a beach and I had this crazy idea. It was actually like inspired by watching the community. You know, like I was really heavily involved in this AI community that was just booming. And, you know, every day it would be like another artist showcasing their amazing talent in the AI space, right? And I was like, this is incredible. Like, what can we all do together, you know? And then I was also inspired by Sway, who had his own community that he was curating on Discord, right? So it was like putting those two things together. And I remember this film that came out 10 years ago called Our RoboCop Remake, where essentially a bunch of filmmakers got together and they recreated the movie RoboCop as a parody, you know, in their own style and their own vision, rewriting the whole film. And so all of those things came together, and I immediately contacted Sway, and I was like, Sway, what do you think of this? Is this a good idea? Like, can we do this? And then, yeah, that the rest is, you know, as they say, the rest is history. So Sway, you want to add anything to that? I don't know. Like, is that accurate?
Yeah, that's very accurate. And just to add a little bit of context of the relationship between them and I, we're about a year and a half ago, we started working on a project that Nem was a commercial that Nem was directing. He brought me on board as one of the lead actors, and that was an amazing experience. So months later, this whole AI craze, right, started taking over the internet. And I'm like, what's going on? I need to be part of it. I've always loved Twitter. And when AI came in, I started to notice, and many people started to notice the shift, right? The shift of the climate inside of Twitter. It wasn't that toxic, crazy Twitter anymore. It was very creative, very like internet in the 90s kind of type of thing. And I wanted to learn. And the first person I reached out to was like, Nem, I see you're doing all this AI stuff. Please lead me, show me. And he was like, yeah, go check out Midjourney. And like, to me, that was just like, yeah, go learn Chinese. I'm like, okay, I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what Discord was, what anything AI, generative AI was, whatever. So I just went head first, and I saw that one of the early AI influencers was Ben Nash. I'm like, yeah, let me follow this guy. I love everything he does, and I connected with him and with a lot of creative artists in the AI space, and the rest is just history. And now I'm familiar with AI. Now I'm familiar with Discord, and now I'm nurturing my own community and connecting with so many people, and I'm just impressed by the technology, right? While there's another group of people who are fearing AI, we're embracing it, and we're just seeing the power and how it's just bringing everyone together. And ultimately, that's what the T2 remake is all about, is just collaborating and bringing creators together. And now that we're close to finishing this film, is just like, it just kind of just puts a stamp on it, you know?
I love that. And I love that Twitter, now known as X, although I still like to refer to it as Twitter. It brings back the old Twitter days. It's such like a hub of community building and activity for you all. But I guess, Nim, when you first had the idea, and Sway, when you were first talking about it, did you contemplate like, let's just the two of us make it? Or was it always like, let's get as many people who can be part of it as possible? Because you have a lot of artists working on the project now.
That was always the goal. The goal was always to bring a bunch of creators together to do this together, because it was all about the community from the beginning. It was all about showcasing the artists that are in this space that I was seeing on Twitter or X, really, just like blowing me away with their talents, So it was always about the community. Mm-hmm.
And when did this idea come? Because I think you put out the call like August, September, and the timeline was super fast. I know Ben shared in our interview that I think he had 3 weeks for a scene. So walk us through, like, once the idea came together, like what happened after that?
Yeah. So Sway, what was it like? August? I called Sway like mid-August.
Yeah.
That's when I was on vacation, and then I created the website actually while I was on vacation. I'm pretty decent with Webflow, so I just mocked up a quick website, and then I don't know. Sway, recall. My memory is a little blurry. So like it was August, and then we started like you started emailing people right after that. Right?
I started emailing it. Right. Yeah. I started because the way we approached this project, we wanted to make a statement with the film, but we also wanted to make it an opportunity for the artists that we really weren't connected with. So we kind of went half and half. We did some hand selection, and we also kind of did like a whole, okay, if you're interested, just send us your email, share with us your work, and we kind of auditioned people that way. So, ironically enough, we were both out of town. You were somewhere international. I was like in New York, and we were having these calls, right? Which is like, I remember clearly all these calls were like lagging because of how like far away we were from each other. We just practically just planned it, formed a Discord community, and just pretty much I started reaching out to every single person that I knew in the AI space. And mind you, I started diving into AI around June. So I'm about to make 6 months, with creating content generative AI. And that's a lot of people's history as well with AI, no more than a year. So, it's a bit blurred, but we definitely initiated somewhere around October, right?
Yeah. So Sway's been like the community. I guess we never assigned any roles, but like Sway has always been the one that has been like community outreach, community organizer. Like, he's the one that's like bringing everyone together, honestly. And, this wouldn't be possible without him. But so, and then we had our kickoff call. I think it was like late September, right? Like the last week of September, I want to say, is when, we had all of our artists essentially for the most part. And then we all had a Zoom call, international Zoom call. It was great. People from Germany, from Japan, from Australia. And that was our initial kickoff call where we all got together, me and Sway discussed the details of the project. And then we opened it up to the floor to have a Q&A, and everyone got to ask their questions. So that happened in last week of September.
Yeah, that call was amazing. It was the first time, I came on as an artist to make video. And first of all, I had imposter syndrome. I couldn't believe I was a part of such a big project. And I think everybody in the group too, we had 40 some people in the call. And it was the first time most of us had seen any other person's faces and heard each other's voices. We'd all had been friends online, but so it was one of the most magical moments I've ever had on the internet ever, was this call alone. And it was about an hour long, and we were all glowing. You could tell we were all just happy and smiling, and it worked. It really did. It brought us all together, put us on the same page. Your agenda was nailed, and we went from there. And yeah, I think that was the last week in September. And what was the next step? I think we picked our scenes the following week, and then the following week we started. Is that what happened?
Yeah, the call was on a Friday, and everyone had a chance to look over all the scenes over the weekend so that they can decide what to pick. All the scenes were numbered 1 through 50. And on Monday, what I did was I set up a web store. It was basically a web store where people can go on there and then they can click their scene and then purchase it for free. And after purchasing, and that essentially secured their scene. So that took care of, like, if two people wanted a scene, it was like basically the first one to buy it gets it. And it was actually really exciting because it was almost like a sneaker drop, or like, this thing comes out, this really exclusive thing, and you want to like get on there first thing in the morning. So yeah, like I think it was like 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I like dropped the link on Discord and I said, okay, go. And then I put out a newsletter at the same time. And it was really interesting looking at my inbox because it was just like all these purchases coming through, so that it was like, I was a little like nervous actually, because I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I was scared that like the website was going to crash, or like I was going to get emails of like people like upset that they couldn't, buy their thing. But like, actually, from what I saw, everyone was like really excited about that whole process. So I'm really happy that worked out.
Yeah, I got my scene.
And you have 50 artists, right? So the original idea was one scene per artist. And aside from Ben and you both contributing a scene, can you tell us a little bit of some of the other artists? Are they all AI artists? Are there any traditional videographers that have transferred over to AI video? So tell us a little bit more about the other artists involved in the project too.
We have people from all sorts of backgrounds. We have graphic designers, we have directors, we have producers, and one of the funny things about this, and what you'll notice, if you ever invest some time in the AI space, a lot of people hide behind avatars because they're so involved in the industry, and since AI is such a touchy subject, but they're still curious to try, and they actually embrace the technology. They do have to hide behind these identities, and we do have those kind of people there in part of our community producing amazing things. So people from all sorts of backgrounds. We have painters, designers, people who have absolutely no creative background. We just started picking up things as because the beautiful thing about the Discord is it was collaborative too. So anyone who needed help, who needed a resource, who needed to be pointed out to a specific service, we did that as well. So it was a learning experience. We all celebrated each other's wins. We helped each other whenever we needed the help really bad. And yeah.
I want to get to the Discord part later, but like the way that we set up the Discord server, it's really cool. Like I've never seen a movie being produced like this. But to go back to this question, we actually have some people that have created their whole scene entirely in 3D. We have one artist who he actually didn't use AI. He like created his whole scene with, I think it was Unity or Blender, maybe. Blender, yeah. So he created his whole scene in 3D with Blender. And then we have other artists that essentially shot their whole scene, but then like they ran like a Gen 1 filter over it so that it looked like whatever character they wanted to represent. Personally, I did that. So I shot all of my scenes recording myself against green screen. And then I'm animating everything with After Effects. So I'm doing traditional animation. And I'm just using AI to generate the assets. So yeah, we've got all kinds of people, and then also to just clarify, it's 45 scenes. 4 movie posters because we wanted to represent all mediums of AI. And some AI artists, they only do still images, just like traditional art, right? So there's 4 artists that are only doing stills, and then we have 1 slot assigned for the trailer. And then we have another artist who isn't really part of the official roster, but we have a composer who's composing the music as well.
And it seemed like a pretty tight turnaround time too, if I remember Ben saying like 3 weeks for the one scene. So Ben, can you kind of walk us through that experience of cranking out a scene that quickly?
Yeah, so my scene, scene 8, I believe, was about 2.5 minutes, maybe 2:40. And before working on this project, I got my processes pretty dialed in to where I noticed it takes me about an hour to create 1 minute of video, whether that be a music video or a short story. And that's pretty fast and phenomenal there. But in this case, I've never tried to recreate. Now, again, this is a parody, and it didn't need to be a one-to-one recreation of the film. But my scenes was actually 3 scenes, and all 3 scenes had a big challenge that I took upon myself that I wanted to recreate. So I've never purposely tried to recreate something like that exactly. And so I ended up spending about 40 hours on the 2.5, 2:40 minutes. So a whole week of time went into it. And again, I think the original window was actually 2 weeks. And then after the first week, I think you guys extended it another one. And yeah, I got my 4K video posted the soft deadline date, and it was fun to cross that finish line when I did. And I, in particular, used about probably 10 different AI tools all in all to get that thing done, and again, push the boundaries of what I've ever done, and I actually learned a lot about film as well. Or not a lot, but some things. I learned the concept of a rack focused, where something in the foreground is focused, and then it shifts to the background and back and forth. That was a new term for me, and I realized then again that I'm a complete newbie at creating film, so it was a good project to learn from as well.
And the point of the film is to showcase all the different capabilities of AI. And it seems like each scene really, did the artist get to completely choose the style of how they wanted to recreate the scene? Okay, everyone's nodding their heads.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there was complete liberty.
Full creative freedom. Yeah, full creative freedom.
Yeah. So when you get the chance to see the film, each scene, the way that it'll progress, it'll jump from different styles, right? Style. It could be a 2D, it could be 3D, it could be, it can have a painter effect. It could be anything, and that's the beauty about AI. So like when and Ben mentioned it. So the way that we approach each scene is that we didn't go word, for word, right? It's supposed to be a parody. It's supposed to be like a reinterpretation of the scene, but yet still have the same narrative, right? The same progression of the film. So it could feel like, okay, cohesive, like it's part of this one big thing. But it's still chaotic. It's still inspirational. It's a little bit, it's a madness when you see it. But it's very inspiring, because again, the goal is to showcase, what AI can do and what everyone was capable of doing, with AI, with little experience, with a lot of experience. So.
And at any point in time, did you think of doing a parody of a different film, or was it always Terminator 2? Like, this is the one and we have to recreate it. And if so, walk me through the thought process on the film selection.
Yeah, so I chose Terminator 2 because with this film, we wanted to make a statement, right? And the general public, Hollywood, whatever, has pretty negative, thoughts about AI, right? And I've gone to a bunch of conferences about AI, and they always talk about Terminator. They're like, Terminator is going to happen, Skynet's going to take over, AI is evil, right? And what I've been seeing in the community is the complete opposite, right? I've been seeing nothing but great things from artists. So with this film, we're trying to use this movie and use that to flip the script essentially and show, look, AI is a beautiful thing. Look at the community that it's brought together, and look at the laughs that you're going to get from this movie. Something that people often forget about Terminator 2 is that AI actually saved John Connor, right? Like the T800 was the good AI. So, we're trying to really highlight that with this movie. And I think that, it was a perfect platform to do that with. And it was always Terminator 2 from the very beginning.
And when you look at the film Terminator 2 and you study the change, right, that Sarah Connor, her transformation, right, she's becoming the thing that she hates, right? And if you pay attention, a lot of people that do fear AI, they're becoming the thing that they're hating, So you see a lot of that on X as well. It's not, rainbows and when you're in the AI community, you have those traditional artists who are really anti-AI, really hating on people, calling AI artists not artists, and essentially becoming that thing. While we should be open, right? We should be open to this kind of technology and just accept it and evolve with it. So T2 is perfect. It's a perfect example for what's happening in today's climate.
I know I've started a presentation before of, when you hear AI, do you think Terminator, the more dystopian or the more utopian film, Her? And someone came up to me after the film, is Her really that utopian? I was like, well, there's not really that many positive AI stories. And actually, Joanna Pena-Bickley, who was on the show before, was like, we actually need more positive AI stories out there because all of them are these doomsday, dystopian, AI is going to destroy the world type things. So your film is a breath of fresh air in that regard.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. Yeah. We need more positive AI films for sure.
And I would say Her is positive-ish, but not really the most positive on the planet. Oh.
The creator was actually pretty good. The creator was about AI, and the trailer makes it out to look like, AI is the bad thing, the bad guy, but actually it was like humans who were the bad guy the whole time. So that was like the whole thing of the movie.
So a tight deadline, 50 artists, a parody where everyone takes the scene. It seems like there could be a lot of challenges with this type of project, but can you kind of talk through maybe some of the biggest challenges, but also maybe some of the biggest surprises too, maybe some unexpected things with the AI artists? Or I'd love to kind of hear more about the messy middle of the project.
Oh yeah, so we learned so much. Actually, I would say that on top of this film being a statement for AI, it's also a really good case study for Hollywood to look at and say, can AI actually take over Hollywood, right? Like, is it really that easy? And the answer is no. It's actually still very hard to make a movie with AI. And we learned that with this project. There's not a single artist in our group that said that this was a breeze. Every single one of them, even Ben today, said it was like a challenge, right? He spent a lot of time. It was easier, right? Easier, but it was not easy. And it was definitely more affordable, which is great, right? Because Hollywood and filmmaking is this thing. Again, I am a traditional film director. I've worked on a bunch of commercials for Disney, $1 million commercials. I've done a lot of music videos and such. And filmmaking is a very expensive process, right? It has this barrier of entry that not a lot of people can get past. You need to know people. You need to have this. AI is just taking all that away, and it's just getting to the core of just imagination and vision, right? But still, even with that, it takes a lot of craft to make something that's good. Essentially, all these AI tools are doing is giving you all the pieces that you need to make a film. But it's like how you put those pieces together that make all the difference in the world, right? We've had a lot of artists drop out. They just said they couldn't do it. Most of them were like a little inexperienced. It's funny because like I talk to people and they go, okay, so I just press a button and the movie comes out, right? That's how it works. And I think that a lot of these people that were coming in who were like inexperienced thought that that was going to be the case. They thought that they would just go in, go on runway, type in Terminator movie, and then out would come out what they wanted. And like, no, that's not the case. So I definitely invite Hollywood to come look at this film and see that it took a lot of time. Yeah, the deadline was initially 2 weeks. We extended it to 3 weeks. And it's been now a month and a half, 2 months, and we're still working on a project because we're starting to realize that it's actually a lot more difficult than we initially thought to make a full feature film with no money. Essentially, we're doing this for no money. It's a non-commercial project, right? So, yeah, we learned a lot with this project, and we invented some new workflows, which is the Discord, which Sway can get into. Which essentially every artist has their own channel where they can present and showcase behind the scenes of the film. So every time they are progressing, you can click on scene 20 and see what scene 20 is doing for today. And then you could ask them questions. Hey, how did you do this, scene 20? And then you can go through each scene and just check in on all the progress, So, there were certain rooms that were completely empty from the very beginning. And it's like, hey, how are you guys doing? Like, is everything okay? And then, hey, sorry, I can't do this. It's a lot harder, So we definitely learned a lot. We're still learning a lot. I mean, we haven't compiled the finished movie, and I'm sure that once we do that, we're gonna go, we're gonna learn a lot from that process as well.
That's very cool about the Discord. I've never heard that being used like that. But I would imagine not only is it like such a great insight into people's progress, but also motivation. Like, oh shoot, scene so and so like is working. I need to.
Yeah, we have to remember that all these people everyone involved, they're volunteering, right? So we can't demand much, right? They're not getting paid. So the most we could do is just inspire them, give them a space where there could be some sort of accountability, it could be motivation, and just kind of like be that cheerleader. At least in the beginning, first 34 weeks, that I was that cheerleader. Me and Nam were like, yeah, keep going. So people were sharing their 2-3 second clip, all the progresses that they made, when they stylized their film and passed it through this AI generator to this AI generator. And just it was like Ben said earlier, it was a really beautiful thing to experience in the beginning, just to see the collaboration and how helpful everyone was and how intimate it was. And another challenge that people face was like, this is a parody. This is comedy. You have to think in terms of comedy. You're going to have to try to be funny. And AI practically is doing the work for us, because like Nem said, when you watch this film, it's like, okay, it's really not ready for Hollywood, but you can see the potential, right? But when you see the film, like, well, this is kind of comical just by watching, how this face looks all contorted. I'm like, yeah, it's trying. And that's funny. And when you add that element of story, and I think this was the big takeaway, right? That AI works when there's a story involved, right? When there's no story, it's just, because everyone is so used to, and it's still till today in the X community, everyone is just used to throwing in their little experiments and stuff like that with like the lack of story. But when you add a storyline, it has substance. You kind of forgive. It's like watching a black and white movie, right? For those who don't like watching black and white movies, when you see that the story is kind of interesting and you're involved, you forget about colors. Or when you watch that 1960s documentaries, you forget about the film grain and how poor the quality looks, because you're so immersed in it. So that's what you'll experience when you watch this film, and you'll see it has that storyline. You'll be immersed. You'll see the potential, and I think you'll find it funny and hilarious. Mine was hilarious, I think, but I have a comedic background, so that came easy to me. And just to hammer on what Nem said in the beginning is like, when we first started auditioning people and they started showing us their work, I followed up with the question, yeah, but do you know how to edit to sound, to music, to dialogue? Do you know framing? Do you know cinematography? So you still had to have or learn on the job, the cinematography language, filmic language. So I think that was also a challenge for some, and some did great for those who didn't know.
One of the funny parts about mine was, and again, I had some unintentional funny parts that I was laughing my butt off at. Was really, it came down to the audio. One of my scenes was when Sarah Connor's in the mental institute and she reaches across the table and chokes the head doctor there, and just adding the sound effects to that scene was ridiculous. I mean, I had to find some voices, and I created an AI voice for Sarah Connor and had her scream a little bit, and it just sounded so funny. So yeah, putting it all into the AI context of this is cartoony and not the best voice acting going on, it added a whole nother element of humor to mine. I thought that was probably the funniest part, just the bad voice acting, to be honest. So it is a hilarious piece. The trailer, it cracks me up every time I see it.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to put the trailer on the dedicated blog post that goes with this interview, and definitely when it launches, where people can watch it in theaters and how they can watch it streaming online as well, which is very exciting. And it might be too soon to ask this question, but do you have any updates on the streaming release? Or
no dates set yet, but I think that once this movie is finished, the plan is to stream it, and then premiere it. Do maybe like a one night premiere at a movie theater, maybe multiple movie theaters. We have such a global audience for this. A lot of our artists are all over the world, so it'd be kind of cool if we did a live stream, simulcast. It'd be kind of fun so that we all watch at the same time and we could all comment together. So I was thinking maybe like a Twitch live stream or like a YouTube live stream or something would be really fun, so that this streams and we all watch it together, and then maybe at the same time we show it at a movie theater. So I think I'm kind of liking that idea, but nothing's set in stone yet because the movie hasn't been finished yet. So
anxiously awaiting for the final, just based on the trailer. It looks very cool. And Ben and I have talked here in Cincinnati to potentially host a screening here, but definitely will be streaming it with you all. And this is like the first that you all know of, the first like full-length feature film generated by AI. Is that correct?
I thought it was. Actually, it's funny because, when we started promoting this, I had it on the website, like the first AI full feature film. And I guess some guy had made a movie like a while ago, and he like personally hit me up. He was really offended by that. He's like, "How dare you?" He's like, "I did this a long time ago. I made a full feature AI."
So like the second or third-ish.
Yeah. But I will say ours is, no offense to that guy, but ours is so unique and so special. And unlike anything else, really, first of its kind. We could say that. It is a first of its kind. There's nothing else like this, right? But also, like during the Venice Film Festival, Harmony Korine did premiere an AI feature film, but it's not a race. I think that it's really just about the community, and there's nothing else out there that's representing the community like this film. So
that's cool. And you've said, and you can see by the trailer, that it is somewhat experimental with all the different scenes being in different styles by the different artists that were given full freedom, which I love that you gave them full freedom. What is your hope as people are watching this film that they take away from, or like the experience? What do you hope that the experience is for people in the audience?
I hope they laugh. I hope they enjoy it. I hope that they get inspired by this to say, wow, like, I can't believe, someone made this. I could maybe do something like this. I hope that it opens up their curiosity to AI. The whole purpose, again, is just to showcase the art form, showcase the artist. I hope that they learn more about the artist. Every scene at the beginning of each scene is going to have the artist's name, so that like they can know more about the artist if they want, because again, it's all about the community. It's all about the artist. So I hope that it opens up doors for all of the artists, Yeah, Sway, what do you think? Like, what do you want out of this?
So, I mean, I definitely want, to me, it's always been about the artist. It's always been about showcasing them. So when you watch a Marvel film or Disney film or any film that's like heavily stylized with heavy visual effects, the people involved they're the last ones for you to know about, right? Like, no one stays to watch the or at least read the names of the end credits of the people that are involved in these departments, in these visual effect departments. And here we're doing the opposite. You visit our T2 remake, these are the first people you see. These are the people that we want to highlight and for you to learn right on the website, for you to learn about. And I will encourage, after watching the film, go see what other works that they're doing. Because now, like, this is the scenes are scenes that we did now, 2 months ago. And the way that AI is evolving is at an incredible speed. Now we're in the stage where people are doing 3D and motion capture via AI. The camera control is insane. It's insane. So by the time you watch this film, that artist is going to be like operating in a 10x level. So yeah.
And yeah, that's exactly what happened to me already. As soon as I finished my scene, that was about the same time that the first Cincinnati AI meetup happened. And, I gave a brief intro to my history, and then I ended with telling 110 people or so about this project. And as soon as it was over, I had 5, 6, 7 people surround me to ask, "Whoa, tell me more! Tell me more!" I felt like a superstar. It had already just that day changed my life, and I mean, it really did happen. It was hilarious. I couldn't believe it. I've never had a crowd of people want to talk to me about a project. But what people get out of this, you said it first, Nem. I think people are going to laugh, and that's all I want too. Because it is everything I've seen is hilarious, and if I can be part of a film that makes people laugh, that makes me happy.
Well, hopefully it will come out around Christmas, before or right after. So for all of the holiday movie going, definitely add this to your list. And this is kind of a special episode. We'll call this the holiday movie episode, and maybe every year we'll end with a movie showcase. But thinking about that, I mean, the technology has already changed so much and so fast from when you started this project. Could you imagine where it will be this time next year?
Maybe we'll do a sequel. Terminator in 3 years.
Well, what were there any scenes or any aspects where you're like, wow, like I didn't even know AI could do that? I know, Ben, you said that you really pushed yourself to learn a new scene, so maybe you could share about that. But I'm curious about any of the surprises of for each of you about a scene that might have stood out of like, oh, I didn't know that was possible, or how did this artist do this? Or I'm just kind of curious some reactions for certain scenes as going into it that we can watch out for.
Well, let me talk about one of my challenging scenes, and then also I want to mention someone else's that I really liked. The opening part, my scene was really 3 scenes, and the opening scene was in the original movie. It was a one take for about 35 seconds long, a single take with all the actors choreographed, and the camera went around in the room. And I honestly didn't notice that until after I chose it, and then I said, "Oh boy, how am I going to do this?" So that was my challenge. That I was impressed with my solution, because it was a weird, not recreating a one take scene in AI where you can generally just generate a few seconds of video was definitely a challenge. So that one, I was impressed with the final results. It's not as impressive as the real life one take, but impressive in its own right. But my favorite scene that impressed me, that stood out the most, is one that's completely out there. It's I can't recall the artist now, but it's the 8-bit video game version of it, which is, do you know the ones I'm talking about, swaying them? Yeah. That one just cracked me up. That one's completely different and not expected at all. I did not expect anything like that. And sure enough, and there's a lot of unexpected scenes for sure, but that one is one that stands out to me.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one. I'll say that there is a scene, I don't remember the artist, apologies, but it was like a 90s sitcom and it had like a theme song and everything. It's in a trailer, so you'll see. It's sort of like a Family Matters style Terminator scene with like an opening title sequence and everything. And I was really impressed because I still don't know how to do AI music in AI, but they did a whole theme song, a whole title sequence, and then it was basically, it had a laugh track, which I loved. There was someone else that did the Saturday morning cartoon, but like that kind of creativity, like I really enjoyed that. So that was really cool to see, like that someone just like went all out making a theme song and all of this. So yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, to me it will be, I think it was Able Art. He goes by Able Art.
Oh
And
yeah,
just
that one's next level. Is that the one that's like meta? The one that like it goes like third.
Yeah.
It goes
Yeah.
person,
Like
it
James
breaks the third
Cameron,
wall.
right,
It breaks the third wall.
wall.
Yeah,
Right.
essentially. Yeah.
He
That
did a
was,
great job, and he just has a way of he's a creative
he's
guy.
so good. Abel's
And
so good. Yeah.
yeah, if you watch his stuff on X, and I don't know if this is something that I can't remember now if this is something that he did for his scene, but how he's able to just turn boxes, right, like cardboard boxes, into and just restylize them using AI into actual things, a shotgun, a house, whatever, and it's believable, in a way. Yeah, he's a very creative dude, and a lot of people did that. We have Max also, who's a producer. He challenged himself to do some acting as well. He did a scene inside his car, and he turned himself into John Connor. Yeah, so really impressive what people did with it. There's music, there's different styles. There's 2D, there's 3D, there's 8-bit. There's Nem is working on a fighting Mortal Kombat style. This is something I haven't mentioned. I turned my T1000, my T800 into Mr. T800. So it's Mr. T as the AI instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that, to me, that was hilarious.
Yeah, we're planning on releasing a behind the scenes video to showcase just like all the different tactics that everyone used, and use all the stuff that's in Discord, all the like process, the making of, so that people can see, like, look, no, people didn't just press a button and this came out of it. Like, people really put a lot of thought into this, a lot of craft into this. Like Abel, like he said, he built cardboard sets and props to make his scene, so. I bought a whole leather outfit and a cop uniform for my scene. Like I dressed up like the T800 and the T1000 to make my scene, and I went out in a green screen and I shot it traditionally. So it's not just pressing a button. It's not just it's not that easy. It still takes a lot of craft, a lot of work to do these things, and I think that we're going to showcase that again with the behind the scenes video, just so people can know. Again, this is what this whole project is about. It's all about showcasing the art form, showcasing the artist, and then really showing Hollywood, be like, look, like AI is a tool, right? Like it's just a tool. It's not this one and done thing. It makes everything easier, which, by the way, I am all for, because visual effects artists are some of the most overworked artists in the industry. Right. So if there is something that helps them, why not like embrace it? Even writers are like, no offense to writers, but like a lot of them are not happy. Like it takes a lot of effort, a lot of brain power, a lot of fatigue, right, to write. And if there's something out there that makes your job like that much easier, embrace it. Like I think that I'm going to get a little bit on my soapbox here, but essentially, like, I really love where the WGA landed on their negotiations. I'm here in the heart of it. I'm in Hollywood, so I'm really affected by the strikes and everything. So, I support the strikes, by the way, but I really do appreciate like where the negotiations landed. So where the strikes landed is essentially that AI is not the author of the thing that you're asking it to help you with, which I love, right? There still needs to be a human behind it. And that's what we learned with this project. Same with the SAG-AFTRA, right? Like we're not trying to replace actors here. We did make a movie without actors. However, I look at this whole, even the whole space, AI space, as a whole brand new medium, right? It's not traditional film. It's not animation. It's a new thing. You know, when film was first invented, people emulated plays, stage plays, right? Because that's all they knew. Right now, what we're doing is we're emulating traditional film. We'll probably see this art form evolve into something completely different. And then we're going to start realizing that this is an entirely new medium. You know, like I can't say that this film that we're making is going to compete with a traditional film in any way. You know, it's not a traditional film. It's its own thing. So personally, I don't think that Hollywood has anything to worry about. I think that Hollywood should embrace it. We should put restrictions, which are already in place, so that people don't take advantage of others. But I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it makes working a lot easier. It makes you get to the thing faster. The process makes the whole process flow much easier. And that's what this whole project is about. It's about showcasing all of that.
I think you could be the most experienced Hollywood director, the most experienced writer, VFX artist, cinematographer, editor. When you watch this film, you're going to pick up and learn something from someone who just recently picked up the skills that you're a master at. And you're going to see the potential. And if you're not a craftsman of film or visual storytelling, well, you'll definitely be inspired by it and you'll embrace it. So just to give you an example, I mentioned earlier how writing for comedy or for parody was one big challenge for other creators. But well, you know, ChatGPT makes it easy. You know, you can easily go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to make a parody version of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Can you give me some ideas? List 10 ideas of what I can do with the main characters. And ChatGPT will do it for you. Now, these ideas are not the best ideas, but it's a great place to start. Right. It's a great place. And another thing that I love that we did earlier before we started doing the scenes, we started asking for it to do a breakdown. I asked ChatGPT to give me a breakdown of all the props, of all the cars, of all the iconic things in the film. And it did just that. You know, I didn't have to go watch the movie and jot everything down. Oh, yeah, they have this semi truck here that, you know, they have this. Oh, this car is this model. No, ChatGPT knew that information already. It was this year, this model. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger was wearing this leather jacket, this brand, boom, 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 boom. So I had this list that I can just kind of play off from, you know, in parody form. So as a writer, that's amazing. Like, what? You can cut your research by like more than half. Wow. And you can actually start focusing on the thing that you love. And I think, you know, this is also something that even animators will take advantage of. Like, if you really start digging into what animators actually do, you'll see that it's not as inspiring as you think. There's a lot of labor, right? Although we're now like in, you know, computer generated, still it's a lot of work, rotoscoping, animating frame by frame by frame. Like, the animator didn't get into animation for that. You know, they want to bring things to life. They want to tell a story. And I think with AI now will help you tell a story, and the technology is only going to get better.
Well, I love what Nem said about just from our imagination to vision is like all you need with AI. And, you know, something that was said on another interview that Marshall McLuhan had said something about every old medium feeds the new medium, from stage to movies and TV. So I'm really excited, you know, once we get past the just replicating what we know of film and video now, like what's next, you know, what's over that horizon, which is really exciting to think about. Well, I know we could keep going on, and I'm so excited to see the film once it comes out and is released and streamed online. One thing that I like to ask all of my guests before a sign off is if you want our viewers and listeners to remember one thing from our conversation today or from the our T2 remake project, what is that one thing that you want them to remember?
I'll jump in first. I would say, as someone who just got into AI art last year and creating images first and then video and now music, I would say that, yeah, this is a whole new opportunity for our generation to, you know, start doing a lot more with less. And like you said, Sway, not the nitty gritty of animating one frame to the next. That is why an animator gets into it. They usually want to showcase a story or show some creative art, and that's what I got out of this project. Is I learned a lot of skills that I can now take on to tell more stories and show more videos and create more. So I think this is a huge opportunity and time for everybody.
For me, it's kind of echoes what Ben says, is that there are tools now ready available for you to tell your stories. And I would like to kind of approach it from this angle. I suffer a lot with dyslexia, so with reading and writing, and tools like ChatGPT. I'm very visual, I'm very kinetic. I just like being hands-on. And I've done many stories where I'm just kind of writing on the fly and just generating images on the fly, videos on the fly. That really helps me, pre-visualize, pre-write, rather than sit here with my arms crossed crying and like, well, I don't know what, like writer's block. And the tools are there, to help you with that. So when you're feeling down and when you're feeling up, when you're feeling uninspired, it's just that is available at a click of a button, and it'll just inspire you so much. So the tools are there, and our T2 remake is just proof of that.
Yeah, I will just say that AI could be your friend. Embrace it. It will make your life easier. Simple as that.
Well, it has been such a treat getting to know all three of you and learning about the project. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that you're doing a behind the scenes. That was actually going to be one of my questions, because that sounds like just a treasure trove of content and steps in that Discord group that I'm sure a lot of people are just as interested seeing the making of as the actual output. But congratulations. I know that this was an ambitious project, and you're so close to getting it over the finish line. So thank you all for kind of taking the charge, jumping into the deep end, showing us what's possible with AI and filmmaking, and just for your time today and teasing the film when it comes out. So thank you so much for being on Creativity Squared.
Thanks for having us. This is so much fun.
Thank you, Helen.
Super excited.
It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
And since this is our last episode for the end of the year, happiest of holiday wishes for everyone who's listening. It has been a wild year for AI in my corner too. I launched the podcast, which has been an amazing platform to meet amazing artists like on today's show. And I'm so excited for all that's in store next year, just also to see amazing talent and where AI will take us. But happiest of holiday and New Year's wishes, and we'll see you in February of 2024. Thank you for spending some time with us today. We're just getting started and would love your support. Subscribe to Creativity Squared on your preferred podcast platform and leave a review. It really helps. And I'd love to hear your feedback. What topics are you thinking about and want to dive into more? I invite you to visit creativitysquared.com to let me know. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter so you can easily stay on top of all the latest news at the intersection of AI and creativity. Because it's so important to support artists, 10% of all revenue Creativity Squared generates will go to ArtsWave, a nationally recognized nonprofit that supports over 100 arts organizations. Become a premium newsletter subscriber or leave a tip on the website to support this project and ArtsWave. And premium newsletter subscribers will receive NFTs of episode cover art and more extras to say thank you for helping bring my dream to life. And a big, big thank you to everyone who's offered their time, energy, and encouragement and support so far. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. This show is produced and made possible by the team at Play Audio Agency. Until next week, keep creating.